how's it going, guys? And welcome to set number 2 of my rescue mission tutorials. Now, if you haven't already figured out, there will be a set number 1 and set number 3. Now, set number 1 will be covering Earth, Venus, Mercury, Mars, and Phobos. This, set 2, will be covering Ceres, Jupiter, Europa, Saturn, and Uranus. After that, the final set will be Neptune, Sedna, Ares, Pluto, Lua, and the Kuva Fortress. So, I will be providing timestamps, and without further delay, let's get right into it. Alright, here we are again. Same rules as always. Though on this one, straight up. Now, you won't be able to use a scanner from up here, but you can get a pretty good readout of the location. Or if anything, you can move over to the sides here. But this layout shouldn't pose too much of a problem, you see. Warden on the left, usually something towards that in the center, Warden on the right. Now we make our move. All right. And we've got the guard in the center. Now, just a heads up, a lot of times whenever you're in these vaults, the doors open on random sides like this one, or it'll open over there. The important thing is the premise is the same. Get to the zip line, scout your enemies. Now specifically, if you want to sneak into this one, you're gonna have a little bit of fun on your hands. You literally just have to run over here and jump up to this vent. Then you've got the option of going up or just jumping out, and you're in. Whoops. Just in case. All the way back. Alright, here we go. And you can pretty much take the same route that you took to get in, to get out. And here we go again. Same rules as always. Now this one you're gonna have to be a little more careful because your safe route is still the vents, but you'll see it's a little bit more of a stretch to reach them. So now you've got that. There's your single warden. There's another one in the complex. There should be a handful of guards sprinkled around as well. So again, take everything slowly and deliberately. You shouldn't have too many problems. Now, once you go over this way, there's actually a vent right here on the stairwell that you can use to your advantage. Then you can see one warden still in the center. From the sound of it, there's one closer to us. 2 wardens in the center. plus the one on the patrol on the side there, which we just noticed. But in any case, we're gonna get back to the point on hand. We need to remember that there are wardens walking above us. Uh-oh. I seem to have stepped in range of a camera.
The captive will be in one of these cells. Search them.
Like I was saying, always bring a silent weapon with you if you plan on doing it quietly. Oh, neat. Okay, here we go.
We've located the hostage. Escort the prisoner to the extraction point, and I'll take care of the rest.
Okay, now let's just hope that this one is going to go better than all the other times. Not gonna lie, this one has come down to random RNG way too much for my liking. We're gonna open the same way as always.
The bypass is done. Go.
Just to be on a more safe side, I'm gonna put a little more emphasis on spotting and taking out cameras. Because sometimes getting rid of a warden's not enough. Cameras can activate turrets or alarms. So you've got one warden. We've got a MOA, 2 wardens, and a lot of foot soldiers. And this is what I mean. This one tile set has been a pain in my side. For the very reason that it keeps spawning a lot. For the reason that it keeps spawning a lot of soldiers in here. So now what I want to do, this is where some frames will find much more ease than I will.
The captive will be in one of these cells.
Ooh.
Search them.
And the thing is, we can stay down here and hidden. But the issue is not going to be remaining hidden. The issue is going to be in eliminating these enemies without starting a firefight. Because the moment that they are alerted and a firefight initiates is when shit hits the fan. I'm not gonna lie. This tile set, stealth is an all too important aspect. So much to the point that it's actually frustrating. Because the number of enemies that have a habit of spawning in here are ridiculous. Like this one here that's crouched is actually alerted to our presence, even though I've not been in here yet. So I've got all of these soldiers that I've got to deal with. It makes me wish that I had brought Equinox, but I guess it's better that I have to struggle a little bit. This tile set specifically has just not been any joke. But what I'm going to suggest, hopefully you've got energy pads by this point in the game, and hopefully by this point in the game you know how to deal with a larger group of enemies. But at this point, I've tried this so many times without completing this tutorial that I am just going to eliminate everything in the room. Now, whether that becomes racing the timer or not, I'm unsure, but sometimes this tile set will spawn and you will be able to do it stealthily and in a normal fashion. The rest of the time though, it seems like you're going to be stuck like me. And it's just not a fun place to be in. Let me see if this one's coming this way. Doesn't look like it. Like I said, this has just been a very frustrating tile set with a lot more combat than I would have liked to have. But, like I said, just pick and choose and cherry pick your way across. There are plenty of platforms that you can use to stay hidden. Ignore that little fuck up. Plenty of platforms you can use to stay hidden. Now luckily, you see, that wasn't a warden kill timer. That was just any casual alarm, which means I can easily go and turn that off, which I'm gonna have to do for the sake of this video. This vault specifically, just watch yourselves. This is the Europa vault, and I don't know why, but it seems like the enemy spawning rates on here are just jacked all to hell. Alright. Now this is on Saturn. This is Anth, I believe is the name of the tile set. And what you're gonna see here is a bit of a replication. Just know that it is higher level. So, having already shown you this tile set before, if you've been watching these in order, I don't believe it's going to be necessary for me to do a full walkthrough. I just want you to be aware that enemies in this one are going to be higher level than the ones that were on the original.
This is the jail. Our hostage is in one of these cells.
I knew you would come. Thank you.
You've located the hostage. Escort the prisoner to the extraction point, and I'll take care of the rest.
As I've stated before, these things are going to kind of repeat themselves a little, while some of them will still have unique tile set. So here we go. You should already recognize this one from before. You're going to want to follow those. You're going to go through here. They only sort of repeat themselves. I guess I was wrong in saying that. I jumped the gun a little early there, but in the end, you are still going to try to get into these pipes, and you'll hit an area like this. We're going to bring up that scanner. Now, I will go ahead and tell you, it's not always foolproof to use the scanner. There are occasions where the scanner actually just misses enemies and doesn't highlight them like you'd want it to. So, if you find yourself getting caught, Just make sure you use it in multiple locations, alright? Because you might be a little too far away for it to pick up on an enemy. But you're just going to follow this simple method. By this point, you should be adept at scoping out an area. So getting in shouldn't be too big of an issue. Whoops. And of course, last one. Eventually you'll come to the point where you can recognize these missions and their tile sets. Just simple as can be. Like,
The hostage is near to the extraction point, and I'll take care of the
oops.
rest.
Like, you'll recognize this area here. Alright. Now, this tile set is going to be much different from the ones that we're used to, and there are multiple paths, which would allow you to do a multitude of little sneaky endeavors if you felt like going that method. But what I'm going to show you is one that will keep us from having to use our submersible. Now, the reason being is I find the submersible is a huge an unnecessary risk, mainly because there's underwater security, landmines, there's a couple of lasers that move up and down across the top of the across the top. There's like bars, much like those ones right there. See that? In any case, what we're going to be looking for is striking at our wardens. Now we just wait for the other one.
The captive will be in one of these cells. Search them.
And like I said, though, there's this whole series of convoluted vents and networks that you can use, but honestly, they're all for show. You can get through this entire thing without being forced to use any of these grades. There's just this long path that involves going up there and underneath the platforms entirely, not to mention there's just an entire section dedicated to submersibles that you come up through that vent and into this holding cell. But if you come out of this water and land up here so that you can shut down the security, you're probably going to be noticed. So the way I showed you, you can look around and learn the other routes, but I promise you, this is your best solution. You'd think I'd be better at these locks. Jesus. But what you need to do is you got to drain the water. Once the water's drained, you just pick and choose. There we go. Now you can hand them a gun and be on about your business.